Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our next live event. Today, we're going to be talking all things information that you, as a parent and carer, might want to know about your dependent's journey to university, whether that's about financial questions, whether that's about accommodation and where they're going to live, or maybe it's just the application in itself. We're here today with a great panel to get your questions answered. So we have had some questions submitted beforehand, but if you have any, just pop them in the comments below, and our amazing panel will be able to answer them throughout this live this evening. So without further ado, I will introduce our fantastic panel. So David, if you would like to go first.
Hello there. Good evening. I'm David May. I work within the Student Financial Support team. So my team looks after all things to do with money. So that could be student finance, could be funding from other sources such as benefits. And we also work with students to ensure that they make the most of the time at university through money management, financial capability. So we're really here to make sure that students can afford their studies, and they can also enjoy all of the activities that Nottingham will bring to them.
Fab. Thanks, David. Simon, do you want to introduce yourself next?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Simon Smith. I'm here, the head of admissions. My team are predominantly there to help applicants on that journey from the original application to the university right through to enrolment. We're here to help you every step of the way.
Sorry about that. Brilliant. Thank you, Simon. And Jamie, if you'd like to finish it off.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jamie Sanders. I'm one of the accommodation advisors here at NTU. Our team sort of fall after the admissions process, so we handle all the accommodation inquiries and help ensure as smooth a transition as possible to coming to university.
Brilliant. Thanks, guys. And my name's Katie. So I am an NTU alumna. I graduated in 2019. So I've been through all this process, and so has my parents. So as I say, I can give that give that outlook as a student that's been through the whole process a few years ago now, but it's not changed. It's not changed too much. So thanks, guys. So without further ado, we'll go to our first question. Brilliant. So what can I expect for the next steps in the application process? So Simon, if you wouldn't mind answering this question for us, being our application process whiz.
Yeah, no problem at all. So essentially from the application process, then hopefully your learners and dependents have received their offers from their universities. Now, the key thing really is there's a couple of key deadline dates that you kind of need to be aware of, which are set by UCAS. So ultimately, if you've received all of your university choices by the 19th of May, then your dependents have until the 9th of June to kind of make their firm and insurance choice. If they receive their last decision on or before the 14th of July, then you do get a slightly later date of the 21st of July to make your firm and insurance choice. These dates are really, really important. If they don't make those choices by those dates, then UCAS will decline their application by default. If this does happen, don't panic. That's the first thing I would say. The best thing to do is get on the phone to UCAS in the first instance, and they'll be able to help your dependent in terms of sorting out their applications that have been declined by default. Following that, once you have made your conditional and in your firm and insurance choice, if it is a conditional offer, the next thing we'll be waiting for is your results to come through to see if you do then meet the conditions of your offer. Now, for a lot of qualifications or exams, specifically things like A-levels and BTECs, your results will come out on the 18th of August, which is the results day, typically. And on that day, we will then be able to let you know whether your dependent has actually got their place confirmed at NTU or other universities as well. We'll be making those same decisions. If you do not hear from your university on the 18th of August because they've not yet been able to make a decision, then what we'd advise you do is then to contact the university directly, just to find out why they've not been able to make a decision on the application yet. It might be that the university just hasn't had those exam results come through to them. So that's the key thing about getting your place confirmed. Once your place is confirmed with NTU specifically, we will then send you further information about enrolment, which comes out typically from around August time, and then information about Welcome Week and starting at NTU, induction timetables, etc. throughout September. That's what you can kind of expect from us over the kind of the coming months.
Okay, just to really add to that, as well as the application for the course, it's also important to ensure that if you're going to be funded by student finance, that you've made your application. The soft deadline is actually passed now. However, you can make an application still, and it's really, really important to try and do that as soon as possible because it can take quite a long time for the application to be processed. The longer you get to the summer, the longer it's going to take because that's when the bulk of applications are processed and there can be quite significant delays. So if you haven't made an application yet, if you live in England, it's the .gov.uk website that you'd make your application through. Go to the student finance pages. It's an online application. Typically, the assessment take about 6 to 8 weeks. It's all via an online system, and do regularly log in because it may ask you for extra information and evidence to be uploaded. So it's really important that you do track it. And just one important point, make sure when you make your application that the name of the student is exactly the same name as on the university application. So as an example, if I apply as Dave May to student finance and David May to NCU, the system won't match the names and there can be issues with enrollment. So just make sure that your young person has got that all sorted. So when it comes to enrollment weekend, everything's ready to go.
I think just to add one more thing to that as well is the accommodation guarantee deadlines as well. So a lot of people are looking for accommodation this time of year. We've still got lots available. So the main date to have in mind is the guarantee for booking accommodation. So you'll be guaranteed an offer of university allocated accommodation, providing that you apply to NTU by the 13th of June 2022 for UK students. And then for international students, that guarantee deadline is the 29th of July.
Fab. Thanks, guys. So, like you say, there's so many things that to look for in the application process coming forward. We do have all the information on the banner that's going across the bottom of your screen throughout this live. There it is. I feel like I'm on the news when that comes up. So, yeah, ntu.ac.uk/your offer. As I say, all the information is on there, but some really great insight there, guys. Thanks very much for that. So, we'll move on to the next question, please. So what should I be doing to prepare my dependent for university? So this is half kind of what you guys have just spoken about in terms of the process, but in terms of preparing them for the university and the journey, does anyone want to jump in with an answer for that first? In fact, Simon, if I go to you first with that one, is that okay? And then we'll go around that way again.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So I think the key thing, I guess, for us is around the whole the offer side of it and around accepting your offer. I think that's a key thing really, because the young learners will get lots of offers from different universities, and so it's really important that they make the right choice in terms of what they pick as their firm and insurance choice. There'll be lots of pressure from maybe influencers at schools or colleges in terms of what is the best choice to make in terms of a firm and insurance choice, whether it's a university that's made you the highest tariff offer. That's a common one, but ultimately it's down to the young learner to decide where they feel is their best fit for kind of almost coming to university, which is the right university for them. Where do they think they're going to fit in? Hopefully they'll have known all about that when they've come along to open days and come to all the forums to see where is the best place they think they'll fit in. Likewise, you'll find there's lots of different chat groups, support groups for other out there, like the student room, etc. Forums on Facebook that the university will have Facebook groups, etc., where your young learners can almost connect with other people, maybe applying for the same courses, just to start to kind of make virtual friends, etc., in terms of getting ready to kind of come to university and make those links straight away, really.
Definitely. Yeah, like you said. Sorry, go on.
So I think that's the key thing, really. Just make sure, obviously, once they've got their exams and everything's done in terms of their exams, that's it. Then they just have to. It's a base of waiting for results to come out and kind of hopefully getting into that kind of excited period of getting themselves ready to embark on that university journey.
100%. Like you said, there's a lot to do with in terms of the official side, getting the finance applied, but it's also getting ready to be part of that social experience. And there's some great advice of being able to find Facebook groups and things like that. That's definitely something that I did before I came to university. So yeah, it's a great thing to just sort of get them prepared for the new journey, the next part of the journey. Jamie, if I go to you next to throw in for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just in addition to Simon's point, there's a lot of support groups which are available. One of the ones that we offer is there's a lot of Facebook groups available through the NTSU, the Students' Union. So these actually give dependents the opportunity to actually get to know their flatmates before moving in. So essentially what you'd do is you'd log on to these Facebook groups. You can post, for example, you can put, I'm in flat 9, room 1, just as a generic example. A lot of people actually comment back saying, "Oh, I'm in flat 9 as well." That goes for both our UPP and NTU managed halls as well as private accommodation as well. So we do facilitate those quite closely. So it just gives you a really good chance to actually meet your flatmates before coming to university, and of course mingling with freshers as well, which I'm sure you know a lot about, Katie.
Oh yeah, it's a huge part of it. Yeah, just that the first couple of weeks, just kind of being in that new environment or away from home. Anything that you can do to kind of help that transition is just great. It's really, really helpful and helps the pre-uni nerves, as I'm sure a lot of people will have, especially if they're moving away from home for the first time, which most people will be. So yeah, some great advice there, guys. David, do you have anything else you want to add in?
Yeah, absolutely. So parents, you will often support your young person's student finance application. So if a student's under the age of 25, normally their maintenance loan, their living cost loan, the amount that they receive is based upon a household income assessment. So if you haven't done that, you'll normally get sent an email from Student Loans Company where you'll go into the application, a separate area, and you'll plug in your details, provide your national insurance number, and they'll pull the information across. If you've got all of that sorted, then another great piece of advice is to get your young person to perhaps create a comprehensive budget. So typically a term is about 10 weeks, 11 weeks. There's 3 terms in an academic year for the most part. So think about how much that student might need for their living costs, course costs, getting around, clothing, all of the essential outgoings. We've got loads of really good resources on our website. And we also partner with a website called Black Bullion, which has loads of modules and puzzles about finance and funding. It's completely free to sign up. NTU students can use it for free. So there's plenty of really good resources that you can use to help your student get money ready for NTU.
I love that. I love that catchphrase. Get money ready for NTU.
Yeah, use it a lot.
Definitely. Thanks for that, guys. So we'll move on to the next question. In the first year, how many days do we physically need to come to university? So I'm taking this is about how many days being face-to-face or how many days being on campus and things like that. So I'm happy to give a kind of an answer for that one. So across all courses is a varied amount of contact time. Some courses are in 5 days a week for a few hours a day. Some courses are in 3 days. It all depends on the timetable and kind of the practical aspect of your course. Your course lecturer or at the open days, you'll be able to find out more information or be able to find out more information if you are coming to an open day. However, as I say, it's varied across all courses. We do have a mixture of in-person and virtual teaching. Again, this is varied across all courses and really depends on what the lesson or the lecture is containing. So yeah, that's the answer to that one. It's varied across each course. Obviously, for the last couple of years, it has been a lot more virtual. This year has been much, back to blended. And yeah, it will continue next year, course dependent. So yeah, just want to check on that one with your course lecturers when you join in September.
I think it'd be worth adding to that one as well, Katie. There's if people actually do want to stay in their accommodation longer than actually their term end date, we do offer summer accommodation that goes right up throughout summer. So in most cases, contracts going to end on the 20th of July 2023. But if people did want to stay beyond that date, we do offer summer accommodation from the middle of July all the way until September time. So if people want to stay for resits, for example, if they've got any social events they want to head to throughout the summer period, then more than welcome. We can facilitate that for you.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for that, Jamie. I'll move on to the next question, because I know we've got a few to get through. So I'll jump to the next one on the screen. So where can I go to find out more information? So the website is a fantastic place, and I'll go to each one of our panelists to just say where their main source of information is, or who you can even speak to. So I'll go a different route now. So if I go to Jamie, you first.
Yeah, absolutely. So the main source of information is on the NTU website. That's ntu.ac.uk/accommodation. So there's lots of useful tools here. So for example, there's a good page called Find NTU Accommodation where you can actually compare all the different accommodations in our portfolio. There's links on there as to how to book as well. There's lots of FAQs in there. So we're going to get lots of questions this evening with regards to things like, what do I do in terms of my washing, for example, or what happens on arrivals day, things like that. So there's a really good tool on there that actually answers all those questions to start with. Other than that, if anyone's got any further questions, feel free to email us directly. That's accommodation@ntu.ac.uk, or you can give us a call as well.
You can find most of our information at ntu.ac.uk/funding. So on there's lots of information about student finance, about some of the bursaries and scholarships that we offer, general money management. If you have a burning question, you could email us at financial.support@ntu.ac.uk. And also as a prospective student, you're also welcome or to get your young person to have an appointment with us. If you email us at financial.support@ntu.ac.uk, we can arrange for you to have a telephone call or an appointment over Teams. We can help with student finance applications, budgeting, or any money related themes. So if there is anything that you need a hand with, do get in contact and we'll do our best to help you.
Okay, and from an admissions perspective, we've got our webpage, the ntu.ac.uk/your offer, which has got loads of information on there about your offer, how to accept offers, etc. Our ntu.ac.uk general webpage has got lots of information around courses. If you are still have a dependent who's still yet to make in terms of choice about their specific courses. But if you have got a specific question about your application, then you can message us on our inquiry form, which is ntu.ac.uk/askNTU, and one of the team will get back to you with an answer.
Brill. Thanks very much for that, guys. I say there's so many different places to get more information, and they are some of the main ones. So brilliant. We'll move on to the next question. So what are the safety and security access for students in halls? So Jamie, being our accommodation expert, if you wouldn't mind having a go at answering this one, give us all the information that you can about safety and security.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of our halls are staffed 24/7 by security. So really, really safe place to be. All students will get issued, in most cases, a smart card. So what this essentially means is you can use that fob to access the building, and it's also personalised to your flat as well. So it just kind of ensures that no sort of unwanted guests are going into your rooms, for example, so other residents can't use your particular flat. So yeah, very, very secure. We've got 24-hour receptions as well. So if you did need to report anything in the middle of the night, for example, we do have FOs. They stand for facility officers that are employed by UPP who manage the hall's residents. So they can actually help with anything from conflict resolution to noise complaints. There's lots that they can assist with, and they're all super lovely as well. So yeah, super, super safe in halls. And if anyone's got any further questions, please feel free to let us know.
Yeah, it's such a nice factor to be able to have the security on site. I know I really, really liked it on first year. And even for things like being able to collect parcels, I know that some accommodation, it's there to help with that if you've got anything special coming from home. And like you say, having the safety aspects for things like that, and then just having that people there for if you lose your key on a night out or anything like that. It's really, really great to have that there. It's really helpful for the first years. There is also something that's been installed by the NTSU, which is called Safe Place, which is a space on our city campus hoping to be pushed out across other campuses, which is open overnight. So it's between like 9 and 5, or I think that's the times, I could be wrong, which is a place to go if students are in second year, so if they're not in private halls and they don't have security, so there's somewhere for students to go then as well. So not only is there a place for first years when you're in halls, but also when you move on to be in houses that don't necessarily have security. So yeah, that's a great thing for students at NTU, and like you say, everything that Jamie mentioned then.
I think just one more thing to add as well, Kate, is that we've also got student assistant support officers as well. So these are actually people employed by the university that, if people got any sort of queries, and this goes for both UPP and private sector accommodation as well. People can utilize our SASOs and get into contact at different times of the day. I think a lot of them rotated until about 10 o'clock in the evening. So there's support available right throughout the day and right throughout the academic year for them as well. So wide range of services, and they work quite closely with student support as well.
Brilliant. Thanks for that. So we'll move on to the next question. So what academic support is available for students? Now, I know, David, we had a little chat about this on Monday, and you had a few things to mention for this question. So if you wouldn't mind going first for that one, that would be great.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So in the first instance, just so you know, Nottingham Trent University is broken down into smaller academic schools. So I did my law degree at NTU, so that was part of the law school. So within the school itself, there's lots of support available. So I struggled in the first year to get my head around referencing. That's quite a big deal with a law course, and had lots of one-to-one support to get that nailed. Also, in addition to that, the Students' Union have an excellent information and advice service, and they can help students with academic queries. So if they're not feeling that the course is right for them, or if they've got a query that they would like to get checked out, or perhaps they need to do an academic appeal, they can really help to make sure that you've got all of the right tools to put that forward. So you're very, very well supported within the university, but also the Students' Union as well. So when you arrive, get to know these people, because they are super lovely and super helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, so much different types of academic support, from in your course itself to also through things like the library. I also have dyslexia, so while at university I gained extra support through NTU, and they are situated in the student support centres. I went to the city campus, so I went there and had one-to-one support. So it's a fantastic place to be able to get that extra support for your study and your dependent. In fact, I actually got diagnosed at university, so that's how good the support and the system is at NTU. They're just a fantastic team, and I'm really, really thankful to them. So there's so many different types of academic support, whether it's specific to your study, whether it's just some extra support in general, or whether it's tailored to your course. It's there's so much at NTU, and yeah, go on, David. You're right.
Sorry, Kate. I was just going to pick up on the theme that you mentioned there, because with student finance, if you do have a specific learning difference or a disability or a long-term health condition, there's actually extra money that you can draw down upon through student finance called the Disabled Students Allowance. Now, that isn't money that you would see yourself, but it does pay for specialist equipment, software, or non-medical helpers. So it's worth, if you haven't already done so, making yourselves known to the university, so we can make sure that we get all of the right things in place, so you get the most out of your time with us.
Definitely, like you say, there's the support, there's the assets there to be able to help support the academic side of it through things that you yourself. So that's fantastic. Jamie or Simon, I don't know if you had anything else to mention for that question. If you do, that's great. If not, we can move on to the next one. Jamie, I can see you nodding a little bit.
Yeah, just in agreement. David and Katie, I think you both said that you utilise the Students' Union Advice Centre. I did as well when I was an NTU student. It's a really ubiquitous asset to the university, and there's so many support measures that are in place. And just to give another example, I was a quite keen sports student when I was there, so there's actually lots of support available from a sports standpoint as well. So committee members, for example, there was student officers that were dedicated to sport that worked within the League Westwood Sports Centre. So there's really lots of sport available. So no matter how far and wide, there's so many different avenues you can look into.
Definitely. Brilliant. So I'll move on to the next question. Pop it on the screen. Fab. Thanks for your question, Sarah. So if your child wants to defer after getting results, is that a simple process? So Simon, if you don't mind if I come to you with that one, you can have a bit of a
Yeah, no problems. Yeah, so Sarah, absolutely. So if your child has got the results and met the conditions of their offer and they are looking to defer to next year, then that's definitely something that we'll be able to help them with. The best thing for them to do is to contact us at the point that they've got the results that have come through. Again, they can come through on our inquiry form and we can then look at deferring their place for them. That's not a problem. So we do get lots of requests through deferrals, and obviously it might be that your dependent has got plans to kind of take a year out to get some other experiences before coming to university next year. So yeah, absolutely, we can support them with that process.
Brilliant, thank you. Do you want to mention something for that, David?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you apply for student finance as an undergraduate, you apply on a year-by-year basis. So if the young person isn't going to come this September, to make sure to cancel the application. Now, if you forget to do that, money won't be paid anywhere, because if a student isn't enrolled, money won't be released. So there's no risk of money being paid for no reason. So do cancel the application for funding, and then you would apply as a new student for student finance when the application system opens for next year, and that will be around March time.
Brilliant. Thanks to you both. Yeah, thanks for that question, Sarah. So if anyone does have any questions, be sure to pop them in the comments and we will get around to them. So are we all right to move on to the next question? Yep. Fab. So what do students need to bring with them the first day/week? Is there a link available for information? So, I mean, how, what do you need to bring that's such a varied thing? If I go to you, Jamie, first for that one, because I know you might have a top tips for things to be in student halls or things like that. Would that be okay?
Yeah, absolutely. We do send some communications out over the summer period, so all students will actually be emailed with an itinerary. So this is just kind of a general space where people can actually have a look at what to bring with you to university. There might be a question that goes into a bit more specifics later, so I won't go into too much depth. But bring things like pots, pans, cutlery with you. Some utensils are provided within some of the halls as well, so it's worth checking. For instance, if you're with a private provider, they do sometimes vary. But yeah, definitely bring pots, pans, cooking material, utensils. Things like fridges and freezers are provided within the halls. You can bring things like televisions, provided that they're pack tested as well. Any electrical appliances. If you're ever unsure, double check with the residence team as well. The residence manager on there can double check if any items are not permitted, for example. But in a lot of cases, yeah, there's definitely lots to bring.
Definitely. It's hard to narrow it down sometimes. If you are wanting a bit more information, we do have some videos on our YouTube channels, which are all about 5 things I wish I didn't, that you don't need for uni, things that you do need and things like that. So take a look on there. That's a great place to take a look. And I'd also say as well, there's so many places in Nottingham that's easily to purchase things. So one thing that I definitely wouldn't say regret, but I bought a lot of things before coming to university, and it just means you have to get them there. Whereas in Nottingham, you've got all your staple stuff for your main bits. You've got an IKEA, you've got your Wilco's, you've got all the, Poundlands, whatever you need. There's so much stuff in Nottingham to be able to get those essentials for your uni room and your flat. And sometimes it's good to get in there, see how much sort of space you have, and then go around things like that. Definitely, you don't need as many clothes as you think. Maybe that's just me because I've got all these wardrobes, but you don't need it. Just bring what you might need if it's easy for you to get home, because then you'll soon realise what you kind of wear at uni the most, whether you're a one set of leggings and a jumper person to uni all the time, and it just helps you kind of make that moving in process a little bit less, because there's a lot to move in on that first day. So yeah, they're definitely my top tips of what, looking back, what I wish I'd done a bit different. David, do you want to jump in on that one?
Yeah, two things really. The first on the cooking utensils, definitely a good idea. But also, if you're part of these Facebook groups where you've met people that are in your halls, you might be able to share what you bring. So it's worth having those conversations. So someone might bring bowls, someone else might bring cutlery, that sort of thing. But also a really useful thing to bring along, certainly for the first few weeks, is money. And the reason for that is, as I mentioned earlier, we will only tell student finance that somebody is enrolled once they've started at NTU. And to do that, we have to send a confirmation to them. And it takes typically around 5 to 7 working days for them to release the funding, so your maintenance loan funding, to the bank account. So for the first couple of weeks, it's important to bring money so you can buy, or your young person can buy, all of the things they need, from a pint of milk to books, and also to enjoy the welcome week activities that we put on. Not all of them have a cost. Loads of them are free, but you will certainly need money just to get by until that maintenance loan comes into the bank account. So a couple of weeks worth of money for sure.
Definitely. Brilliant. Thanks for those answers, guys. So we'll move on to the next question. So is there accommodation still available? Jamie, I'm going to come straight down to you for that one to give us the answer.
Absolutely, there's still accommodation still available. So we've got accommodation available on all 3 campuses. So in the city campus, we've still got Norton Court, the Maltings, and Meridian Court. And then also in the city centre itself, we've got our partnered AAP accommodations. So we've still got availability in 2 places. That's York House and the Glass House. On the Clifton campus, we've got 2 main residences, which are Newhall and Peveril, which both still have availability. We've still got some limited availability at Brackenhurst as well, so feel free to take a look at all those. There's a good comparison on the NTU website on ntu.ac.uk/accommodation. There's also 360-degree show rounds of the flats as well, so it's a really good way, if you don't get a chance to come and have a look at the rooms beforehand, to actually take a look and see whereabouts you're going to be living for your time at NTU.
Brilliant. Thanks, Jamie. As you say, the team are here to answer any questions if you're unsure about accommodation. So send them through to the people on that web page. We'll move on to the next question. That was a easy answer. So what can we expect on moving in day? So moving in day is a busy day. It's a busy day across the whole of Nottingham. You can definitely tell when it's moving in day. It's like the city comes alive again with the students on this day in September. It's a really, really great day. Even as just working at NTU now, it really is a fantastic atmosphere. David, do you want to go first? I've seen you taken yourself off mute. I'm going to go to you first, if that's all right. If you've got an answer for that.
That's absolutely right. So over the last couple of years, we've had enrolment weekends virtually, which I've really, really missed. It's probably my favourite weekend of the academic year. And the reason for that is that we welcome a couple of thousand brand new students into Nottingham, into our beautiful university, and the vibe is just incredible. It's just such a lovely atmosphere. So you will be getting your student card, and you will also get wristbands to enjoy some of the welcome week activities if you'd like to go down that avenue. And you have the whole weekend to move in. So you can take your time. Most people rock up on the Friday. That is definitely the busiest day. So do expect queues. But you don't have to come in on the Friday. We're around Saturday and Sunday as well. And there are lots of people around to help you, not only to help you move in, but to point you in the right direction. We'll all be wearing lovely pink hoodies like Simon is tonight. And, don't be a stranger. Come and say hi. There is no such thing as a daft question. We're all here to help. We've all been through it ourselves. And, we want you to get off on the right foot, as it were.
Definitely. Thanks, David. If we go to you next, Jamie, with your answer to that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I think just to add to David's point as well is that what you've got to remember is that everybody is going through the same scenario as yourself. It can be a really daunting time for students to be coming to university for the first time in a lot of cases. And I think what you've got to remember is that you're all in this together. And, Freshers Week is a time, where you can really get to know the people on your course, get to know the people that you're living with for the next 44 weeks. I think the most important thing to kind of summarize with is that the contract start date in most cases for 44-week contracts is the 16th of September. So that is the Friday. And David's quite right. You can move in any time of the day. You can move in after your contract start date as well. So it isn't just restricted to that weekend. If you decide you want to move in after 1 week, 2 weeks, that's absolutely fine. It's completely flexible to the student and circumstances as well.
Definitely. And in terms of if you're moving your dependent in, if you're bringing them to university, there is always our amazing NTSU team who help people carry their belongings to the accommodation. There's such a helpful asset. I did it when I was a university student. It just is a nice way to be welcome to the university, and also helps you take the many IKEA hold alls up to your dependents room for you, whether it's you're moving into an accommodation that is on the city centre or Clifton or anything like that. There is always going to be help there to help you offload or answer any questions. As I said, there'll be everyone there in the pink hoodie to do so. And yeah, it's just like you say, if you are moving in that day with your dependent, to get them moved into the accommodation, but then also take a walk around the campus, maybe get yourself enrolled, help get them enrolled, just help them settle into the campus on the first day. And then always, you've got to take them out for a nice meal. You've got to go out for a meal in Nottingham, because any time that my parents used to come visit me, I would be like, I'd tick another place I wanted to eat off the list, because I was, students don't go and always try all the best restaurants in Nottingham. That's that's not something to know. So yeah, that's what I'll definitely say I would expect on moving in day, because that's exactly what mine was like. Fab. So we'll move on to the next question, please. Fab. Thank you very much for your question. So my daughter has refused paramedics but has been refused paramedics but offered health and social care. She doesn't want that. Does she have to go through clearing? Thank you very much for your question. So Simon, if I don't mind if I come to you first, come to you with that question, you're going to have the insight.
Yeah, of course. Yes. So yeah, great question. Paramedic science is one of our most popular courses at the university at the moment. So it is very heavily oversubscribed in terms of applications. Now, predominantly, if you don't receive an offer for the paramedic science course, yes, in the instance that you've got, then we do make alternative offers to health and social care. Now, if that is not the subject that your dependent wants to take, then clearing is an option, I guess, to something that can be looked at. But it's also dependent on whether the paramedic course will go into clearing as well. As I said, from an NTU perspective, it is one of our most popular courses, and so don't be reliant on a course going into clearing, such as the paramedic science course. It might be that instead of doing the degree in paramedic science, they might want to think about if they want to be a paramedic, other routes to get to be a paramedic. Another course that we offer is a cert in an ambulance technician course that is run at our Clifton campus and our Mansfield hub, and you can find more information about that on our website. And that's another route that you can complete that course. And by doing that course, that offers you another route onto the BSc in paramedic science as a kind of advanced entry onto year 2. So it's not a course that you'd apply through UCAS. It is a course that you can apply to directly. But don't just think paramedic science is your only route to be a paramedic. There are other routes out there. And obviously there might be other institutions that may have spaces through clearing as well on the traditional paramedic science course. But don't just put all your eggs in one basket, kind of hoping that on results day when clearing opens, there may be that paramedic science course there, because there may not be. So it's just think about your options when you get to the results side.
Right. Thank you very much for that answer, Simon. Just giving us a bit of a different alternatives to look at if you haven't got the offer that you were looking for first time round. So we'll move on to the next question, please. So, what financial support is available for students? Oh, David, I can see you rubbing your hands together, ready to answer this question.
Yes.
This is all you, so I'll go straight to you.
Okay, so for undergrads, full-time undergraduates, if you're a home student, so typically that means you're a UK national and you've lived here for 3 years, there's the core package of support, which is a tuition fee loan that's paid directly to the university, and then there's also a maintenance loan. So that's a loan that makes a contribution towards living costs, and that would be paid directly to your young person. Now, at a university level, there's also our NTU bursary. So students qualify for the bursary, which is worth £750 per academic year if they are entitled to student finance, so a tuition fee loan and a maintenance loan, and they have a household income of £25,000 or less. Now, we get that data directly from the student loans company, so you don't even need to make an application. It's all done behind the scenes. So all students that are eligible will get awarded the bursary automatically, and we'll confirm in writing around September time that that's happened. Now, in addition to that, we have 2 further bursaries, so a bursary for estranged students and a bursary for students that are care leavers or care experienced. That's worth an extra £1,000 a year, and information about that is available on our website. Now, one thing that a lot of universities have, and ourselves included, is also a hardship fund. So some students may struggle financially. That may be because they just don't get enough from student finance due to household income. It might be that they've had quite a significant change that was unforeseen to their personal circumstances during the academic year. So the hardship fund can support those students by making a financial contribution towards their living costs. The hardship fund is not a loan, it's paid as a grant, and there's information about that on our website. And just back to student finance, one final point. If you have dependents, so children or dependent adults, then there is extra financial support for those reasons. So there's lots of really useful information at ntu.ac.uk/funding. There's also loads of really great information on the .gov.uk website. If you have any burning questions, if you'd like to have an appointment with one of our financial advisors, drop us a line at financial.support@ntu.ac.uk.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that one, David.
No worries.
There's the one on the screen now if you want to ask any burning questions. Yeah, great answer, David. Thank you very much. And we'll move on to the next question, please. Oh, is there parking on moving in day? Thank you very much for your question. Jamie, if you want to, are you all right to answer that one? Is that okay? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So it normally depends on the hall's residence itself. So in most cases, a lot of halls residences do have parking available. For AAP accommodation, so these are our private providers that we work with. A lot of the ones are located in this, in fact, all of them are actually located in more or less a city centre. So in those cases, parking wouldn't be provided. So you would need to get private parking, but there is lots available at places such as Trinity Square and Victoria Shopping Centre. It's great at places like Clifton, for example, because we've got Peveril and Newhall. Peveril, which has a lot of parking, and then there's the main car park where there's quite a lot. Typically, in the halls where there is parking available, you'll normally be allocated a time slot. So normally it's around about 1 to 2 hours, depending on the time of day. But it is worth noting you can move in any time of the day. So some people choose to move in at 6 o'clock in the morning, for example. We do get some people that move in, last thing at night, and even some people in the middle of the night. So there's because of the 24-hour reception, it is entirely up to you. Some people like to go later in the evenings, for example, so that could be a good time where you can actually get more of a longer car parking space. So yeah, definitely have a think about that. But we'll send more communications out over the summer period, where we'll kind of go into greater depth. But to answer your question, yes, there's parking available.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Like you say, there's most halls will have some sort of, have facilities for you to park in, whether you're in a private hall or UPP, which is our university accommodation. And like you say, you usually get 1 or 2 hours just to offload your car and then to go park somewhere else in the city to fully get in. But there's so many people there to help you move in. There'll be no problem at all. So yeah, that's great. So we'll move on to our next question, please. I think we're coming towards the end of our... Oh, brilliant. Thanks very much for your question, Lisa. So if my daughter's results are slightly lower than needed, but she has an EPQ, is it worth calling your admissions first before going through clearing? So, of course, it's psychology. So, Simon, am I okay to come to you for that one?
Yeah, of course. Great question. So I think the key thing is when you get your results, if you've not quite met the offer that we've made you, is do not panic. I think that's the key thing, because what we will do is if you don't quite meet the points requirements for a course, what we do is essentially, first of all, everyone that's met their conditions of offer, they'll get confirmed on their course straight away. Then if there are still spaces available on that course, what we will then do is then look at the other applications again and take the whole application into consideration. So that at that point, we may then look at EPQ, then might get taken into account. Sometimes what we might do is, if you don't quite meet the requirements for your first choice course, we might look to make you an alternative offer for something else as well. So just bear that in mind. So on results day, when you get your slip, and you get your results. If it's not quite what you expect, don't just think automatically I've not got a place on your chosen course, because that might not be the case. Ultimately, what we will do for anyone who's applied for any of our courses, on results day, you will, if you've got your place confirmed with us, you will generally receive a text message from us on the day to confirm whether you have your place on the course. Also, UCAS Track, when that opens on A-level results day, that's another place to go to log on to check if your place has been confirmed at your first choice institution. And again, it's important that if you do go on UCAS Track and see that your place has been confirmed, just double check that the course you've been accepted onto, because in the instance you don't quite get your results, you may have been made an alternative offer for something else. But you might find, again, you have been made an offer for your first choice course. Ultimately, clearing is there. It's another avenue for applicants to go down if they've not quite got secured a place on the course that they've chosen, and they want to look at whether there are spaces in clearing available for courses. But if you've applied for psychology, then if the psychology space is available and we think you meet the requirements for that, even if it's a reduced offer on that course, then we will make you confirm your place on there. The clearing offer that goes out there, ultimately, if you don't meet the clearing offer, then you wouldn't have been made a place on that kind of psychology course. So if you meet the clearing offer, your place would have been confirmed on psychology in the first place. But like I say, don't panic on results day when they come through. Just check your text messages, check your UCAS Track just to see if your place has been confirmed or not. And if in doubt, you can ring the clearing hotline, and we've got plenty of people available on the phones on that day to be able to help and support you through your main application process, or if you want to go through clearing, they can support you through the clearing process as well.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for that answer, Simon. So that was our final question. So thank you so much for everybody who joined us on the live today to ask your questions. If we didn't get round to them, the best thing to do is go to the ntu.ac.uk/ask NTU. So if you go there and ask any of the there it is, like magic. If you go there and ask any of the questions that we didn't get round to today, our friendly team will get back to you as soon as they can. And be able to help you and point you in the right direction. So yeah, thank you so much to everyone who came to join us on the live today, and thank you so much to our amazing panel. You've given so much insight to our parents and carers there about their dependence journey to university, and I think everybody's leaving with a little bit more knowledge. I definitely am. I've definitely learned a lot on this call today. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you next time. See you later. Bye.